Very good evening to all. Namaskar. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Let's continue on the Shri Sai Satcharita Parayana. We'll continue from where we left yesterday, from 4th chapter. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. This is Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shri Sai Baba. Chapter 4, Descent of Sai Samarth in Shirdi. We are continuing from verse 60. Sai's sacred company in Shirdi is our Agam, scriptures on which temple worship is mainly founded, and Nigam, Dharma Shastras. That itself is the assuagement of the sufferings and pain of the worldly life and the easiest way to deliverance. Samarth Sai's darshan is for us the yog, the sadhana, and conversing with him is the washing away of our sins. Pressing his feet softly is as the sacred bath at the confluence of the three rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, and partaking of the holy water of his feet means the eradication of all desires. This is a very important lesson. Guru Seva is the highest form of worship and seva that you can ever do in this world. Pressing Guru's feet will eradicate all your sins. Not just pressing alone, but the holy water. When we do Paduka, the Guru Paduka Puja, we take the holy waters or the Panchamrit and we partake of the offering as prasad. When we do that, that is a consecrated water, that is the holy waters. It is equivalent or more powerful than all the three confluence of the holy rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, where rests the entire knowledge, the power of the divinity itself. When we drink the tirth, it is the holy water, it eradicates all the sins that we are carrying from many lives and removes all our desires of the material world. His command to us is an aphorism of the Vedas or a gospel truth, and eating his uddi and prasad is sanctifying in every sense of the word. Sai alone is to us the supreme Brahman. In him is our highest goal of human life. Sai himself is Sri Krishna, Sri Ram, and he is our eternal refuge. Sai is beyond the pair of opposites such as joy and sorrow, anger and love, etc. He is never related or depressed, but always absorbed in the self and forever the ultimate reality. This is so very true of all these great divine beings. One of the most important lesson here is they never get swayed in the pairs of opposites or even the gunas. They are always in the blissful state. They are neither happy nor sad. They are they're not angry or they don't hate anybody. But if you see a guru or the greatest teacher, they will speak to you sometimes very angrily, sometimes in a very childlike behavior, sometimes full of mischievousness, sometimes in the most compassion manner, showering the kindness, sometimes absolute, full of love. These are the qualities of a real guru, and they don't have to follow any code of conduct. They are beyond all of that. They don't have to conform to any rules and regulations, but they just do it so that they can set an example for all their disciples and devotees and this entire creation to follow. So you should recognize how a divine, a true Sadguru behaves, because only a real master can portray that behavior, not anybody else. So this is some of the qualities by which you can identify a real guru. And taking refuge unto the Guru's feet is very important. When we say ashram, what does ashram mean? Ashram is a place where your Guru lives. I mean, where your Guru, whoever is your Guru, wherever he might be, that is the place we called it as ashram. Ashram means to come and take refuge at the feet of the Guru. And ashram also means you have to come and put effort to evolve on the path of spirituality. Sham means effort. Come and put effort, because without effort you cannot attain spiritual weal. Even listening to this satsang is an effort. And listening itself is an effort. Effort which has to be practiced. Effort which has to be put from your side to sit for the satsang and listen to these beautiful words and the teachings. And even out of that, one word, if you can imbibe, your life is made. Sai is beyond the pair of opposites. Yes, we finished this. But Shirdi was only the center from which emanated Baba's influence very widely, to Punjab, to Calcutta, to Gujarat, to the Deccan, to Karnataka, to all over India. Sai's Samadhi at Shirdi is a place for the gathering of all saints, where, as one makes one's way, the bondage of worldly life breaks down at every step. A mere darshan of this Samadhi is truly a fulfillment of this human birth. How then can I describe the great good fortune of those who have spent their entire lives in his service? You know, it is a boon. If you get an opportunity to serve any guru, the real masters, it is a boon. You're the chosen one. You're blessed to be serving the master, because that is the highest wheel a human being can ever attain. Today, I will be extremely grateful to my Krishna Guruji for giving me this opportunity to serve him and, learn under his tutelage. And not just that, he's my mother, he's my father, he's my everything, and he's given this beautiful opportunity to learn under him at every step in my life. He handholds me and walks me through and helps me every time overcome my mind, body, senses, whatever the tendencies or whatever challenges that I have. Literally like a child, he teaches me how to do things in this world. Such is the greatness of this Guru, and you cannot even comprehend him. He's beyond human mind's ken and understanding. A mere darshan of the Samadhi. Yes, we finished this. Sorry about that. On the mosque and on the Wada, Samadhi Mandir, rows of beautiful flags flutter high up in the skies, as if beckoning the devotees with their hands. Baba became renowned as Mahant or Sadhu, and his fame spread from village to village. Some prayed to him, taking vows with true faith. Some gained peace of mind by his darshan alone. Whatever the thoughts in anybody's mind, be they pure or vile, their minds experienced peace and calm by his darshan. In their hearts, people were simply amazed. This is so very true, and what you will experience here and what is being said is that whenever you come in the company or in the presence of the greatest masters and the divine beings, your heart will become calm. You'll start experiencing a sense of joy, a peace, a contentment. Your whatever thoughts might be, they will all be eradicated. Be all the negativism from you will completely go away. You will find goodness flowing out of your heart. That is the true experience of being in the presence of the divine, the greatest of the divine beings. They will remove all the muck that is there within your being, and they'll purify it. Just sitting in their presence is good enough, and just one look, one glance from them can completely destroy all the evil tendencies that you have within you. The same marvelous experience of the darshan of Vittal Rakmai in Pandharpur was given by Sai Baba to his devotees in Shirdi. Should anyone think this is an exaggeration, let them hear the words of Gauli Bua, a dedicated devotee of Vittal, to remove their doubts. He was a Varkari from Pandharpur who, out of his devotion to Baba, came to Shirdi once a year, as regularly as he went to Pandharpur. With a donkey and for companion, a disciple, Bua set out on the pilgrimage with the constant chant of Ram Krishna Hari on his lips. 95 years of age, he spent the Chaturmas on the banks of the Ganga and the remaining 8 months at Pandharpur, which made it possible for him to meet Baba once a year during these journeys. Gazing into Baba's face, he would become humble and exclaim, "This truly is Pandharinath incarnate, the refuge of the friendless and destitute, the all-merciful one. Does one become a saint merely by wearing a dhoti with a silk border? No, indeed. Here, one has to wear out one's bones, turn one's blood into water by one's own arduous efforts." This is absolutely the truth. You think what all these great sages or anyone who has manifested in the body that they have taken as a garb to serve the purpose of the divine have got it easy. Even they have to do their sadhana. They have literally wore themselves out so much that you can't even fathom. You know, it's such a flimsy mind that we have. We human beings are so lost in our mind, body. We give importance too much to our body. You know, a small sadhana we can't practice. As simple as getting up every morning at a specific time. We give reasons why today I'm so tired, I can't get up. You know, this is a very funny thing that happens. I go through that many a time. It's the mind that I need to overcome. I set my alarm for 4 a.m. and invariably I will say, okay, I have 10 more minutes, let me sleep. And I will wake up at 4:20 and then I'm always late. Why does that happen? Because I've not been able to overcome my mind. And I've seen with many others that they'll set an alarm, multiple alarms, and they'll keep switching off and say, it's okay today, you know, your mind is going to give you that very beautiful answer. Oh, it's okay today, I can sleep some more. It's tired, I've worked so much, you know, last night, I can sleep, I can take some more rest. Why is this indiscipline? We human beings are relaxed. We relax too much. We give thousands of reasons for non-performance, for not doing. You know, these great beings, the reason why they are great is because they never gave such reasons in life. They were so much focused. They were absolutely disciplined. You know, in recently my Guruji was giving me a very beautiful lesson of Warren Buffett. In that he said, this man just did not become great. There are certain people who become great not because they have brains. They were more disciplined. It's not about being smarter. It is about being more disciplined. Can you be very disciplined? You need to work in clockwork precision. You can't give reason. Don't stop giving these reasons. Tell your mind to shut up and practice being disciplined. It is for your own good. You will evolve. You're not going to do any favor to anybody by being disciplined. So sadhana is a very important aspect. These great beings have wore themselves out. And even today, you know, taking people like us from the gutters that we came from and cleansing us is not a joke. They wear themselves. They absolve our karmas. They suffer for all our weirdnesses. You know, they have to bear with us. They cannot say, you know, I don't want to teach you. They don't have a choice. Yet they perform to their highest ability. They are the greatest of the masters. They don't have to take all the crap from us. Why do they? But they do. Because that is who they are. They want us to make that beautiful diamond, you know, that priceless diamond that they can bring out of us. That is who we are. We forget our real inherent quality and we think that we are this body and we give so much importance to I, this ego, arrogance constantly. Stop that and learn from these great masters how they have evolved. It's not, they have not arrived just like that. Things have not been given to them also on platter just because they were divine beings. They also had to do their sadhana. 95 years of age, yes, I finished, I'm sorry again. Gazing into Baba's face, he would become humble and exclaim, this truly is Pandarinath incarnate. The refuge of the, we finished this as well. Okay, how can one become of God for nothing? But truly he, Sai, and he alone is Pandari Rao. With a firm belief that this world is illusory, perceive the divinity behind it. When such are the words of a great devotee of God who is dedicated to the worship of Pandarinath, then what experience can a base, low creature like me have? Let the listeners experience this for themselves. With his great fondness for chanting God's name, Baba repeated Allah Malik ceaselessly and would often make his devotees hold a Naam Sapta, a week-long chanting of the name, in front of him, which would go on day and night continuously. Once, Das Ganu was commanded to start a Naam Sapta, and Das Ganu said, yes, but Vittal must appear to me. Laying his hand on his heart, Baba said peremptorily, yes, Vittal will appear in form before you. Only the devotee must have faith enough. Danakpuri, Dakur in Gujarat, of Dakurnath or Pandarpur, of Vittal Raya or Dwaraka of Ranchod. Everything is in Shirdi itself. You do not have to seek it for. After all, is Vittal going to appear from a secret place? Moved by the intense love of his devotees, he will incarnate in this very place for you. By his devoted service to his old parents, Pundalik had won over the Lord of Lords, who stood resting on a single brick just for the love and devotion of Pundalik. And so, as the Sapta came to an end, it is said that Das Ganu did have the Vittal Darshan in Shirdi itself. So much for the truth of Baba's words. Once, Kaka Sahib Dikshit was sitting in meditation after his early morning bath, as was his daily practice when he had the darshan of Vittal. Later, when he went for Baba's darshan, see the wonder of what Baba said to him. So, Vittal Patil had come, isn't it? And you did meet him, I am sure. But mind you, that Vittal is very elusive. Hold on to him fast and fix him in place forcibly, or else he will give you the slip if you are inattentive even for a moment. Yes, this is a very beautiful story of Pundalik which I will narrate here. Once so happened that Lord Vittal and Rakmai were very much moved by the devotion of Pundalik as he was serving his old parents. So when Lord Vittal and Rakmai appeared in front of Pundalik, he just said, "You wait there. There's a brick. It's called Vitavari. It's called, sorry, I can't remember the Marathi word, but it's called wheat. Yes." And he says, "You please stand on that." So, and the Lord and that's Vittal and Rakmai are waiting on that. But what happens is he was so focused in serving his old parents that by the time he could, meet the God, they already had turned into statue. There's a very profound meaning here. Here, one, it talks about the great devotion that Pundalik had for his parents and which made gods move and they came to give him darshan. But on the other hand, if you're lost in your worldly, the parents, the bodily relationships, the Lord is not going to wait for you forever. So it's what you want to learn from this beautiful story. It has got Chitti, are we live? Okay. Sorry about the technical glitch. The light went. Apologies for that. So what I was saying is that there are multiple profound meanings to these stories. It is not just said because you have to take it in one context, but there is different contexts that you can learn from it. So Vittal became a statue. So what it's meant here is that don't take forever to go and meet him. When God appeared, just go for it. Hold his feet because he's not going to be there for you forever. That's why even we say that, know not when the God comes, be prepared. But this was just the incident of the morning, while later in the day, as the sun came overhead at noon, see how there was yet another proof of the glorious vision of Vittal. Someone from another village came to Shirdi, bringing with him quite a few pictures of Vitoba of Pandharpur, with the intention of selling them. And Dikshit was simply amazed to find them the exact replicas of the Vittal who had appeared to him during his meditation. That morning, Baba's words at once came to his mind. With great love, Dikshit bought one of the pictures, paying the price to the seller, and with great devotion installed it for puja. Listen now to yet another fascinating story, which once again brings out Sai's reverence towards the worship of Vittal. One Bhagwant Rao Kshir Sagar, whose father was a great devotee of Vittal, used to go to Pandharpur very often. There was an idol of Vittal for daily puja in his house. But after the father's death, puja, food offerings, everything stopped. Even the annual rites and ceremonies for the dead ancestors were forgotten. Not a word was ever uttered about the annual visit to Pandharpur. When Bhagwant Rao came to Shirdi, Baba remembered his father saying, "He was my friend. And since he, Bhagwant Rao, is the son of that friend, I have dragged him over to Shirdi. He makes no food offerings to the gods anymore. He keeps me hungry too. Even Vittal he has kept without food. So have I brought him to Shirdi. I shall now remind him about everything and thus make him perform the daily puja. On one occasion, knowing how it was the specially opportune time of Parvakal, Das Ganu wished to take a dip in the river at Prayag and came to Baba for his permission. Baba replied that there was no need to travel so far for that. Shirdi itself is our Prayag. Let there be firm faith in your mind. And indeed, what a marvel of marvels. Even as he placed his hand on Baba's feet, water trickled. Water trickled down from both his toes. The twin streams of the holy Ganges and Emuna oozed out in a trickle. At the sight of this miracle, Das Ganu was choked with emotion. How great was Baba's favor! It moved him to tears of joy and gratitude. This is very true. One of the most important thing is we should always follow our practices, our spiritual practices. We should every day do our prayers, whatever that is, even lighting an incense stick or just a lamp, and even basic offering, whatever that you can. Whatever you have, even a tulsi, like Lord Shri Krishna says, offer me just a tulsi, I will very happily accept it. But you have to do your practices, you cannot stop. It is a very important thing on the path of devotion. And if you've committed, please keep it. You cannot make the gods stay hungry. Once again, very sorry. We don't know why today there are some issues with the electricity. Apologies for that. So coming back, so you can't make the gods be hungry. Like you feed yourself with breakfast, lunch, dinner, when you're hungry, you're just angry because you need food. Similarly, gods also cannot be kept without food. Whatever that you can offer, you must pay their due respect. That's number one. The number two here is a very beautiful, profound truth. The Guru's feet is the Tirth Yatra. It is the place of all the holy places. Ganga, Yamuna, everything, including the knowledge, is at it is at the feet of the real master. And if you sincerely, with faith, seek it, you will be blessed with it. And I think yesterday again I'll repeat the story that I narrated. It is not Ganga who purifies the sins of the people. It is Ganga who gets purified when the great divine being dip their feet in the holy water. That's what this means, where you don't have to go to Ganga to have this bath or Prayag and all that. Just at the lotus feet of the Guru is all these rivers right there, and they will emanate it for you when you have that faith. Love brimmed up in his heart and stirred him to poetic utterance, which found its satisfaction only after describing Baba's boundless power and incomprehensible leelas in verse. Charming is this Das Ganu's pada, and to satisfy the listener's eager desire to hear it, I give here at this appropriate juncture the sublime song as promised earlier. O Sadguru, boundless is your power, marvelous your leelas, to ferry the dull and the ignorant across the ocean of life. You are forever the ark. Veni Madhav, you became and brought Prayag at your feet, only to make Ganga and Yamuna flow from your toes. The lotus-born Brahma, the consort of Lakshmi, Vishnu and Shiva, Har, Shankar, the quintessence of the Trigunas, you have yourself become, O Sai Samarth, as you walked on this earth. Wisdom of Brahma pours out of your words Sometimes you assume the terrible form of Shiva to show tamas. Lord Shri Krishna, you indulge sometimes in childish pranks, and at times you are the fable swan on the lake of your devotees' hearts. If a Muslim, sandalwood paste was like Hindus, dear to you, but if a Hindu, how happily you stayed always in the mosque. To call you wealthy, but you went your rounds begging for alms. And should you be a fakir, your munificence has put even Kuber to shame. Here, it's a very important verse and something very profound again. To call you wealthy, but you went your rounds begging for alms. What does this mean? The reason why the divine, all the gurus go and beg for alms, they beg for food, is because They will always want their ego to be subdued. They show and teach their disciple what it is to be humble, how to have humility. And the reason why, and this food that they beg and they bring and eat, it's called madhukari. This food is completely desireless, because when we give food, we first satiate our desire, and only then we offer the bhiksha. And that food is desireless. And these great masters will only accept your leftovers. I have to tell you, in when I met my Guruji in the initial days, when I met him back in 2009 and around this time, I've seen him wearing some of the clothes which is used clothes, and I saw his humility. I'm like, oh my God, this is being so humble. I was like, you don't have to wear used clothes. He did that so that he doesn't have ego. And when people offer and he says, we want to accept things that doesn't have any desire of another individual in that. It is sinless, that is pure. That is why we say it's madhukari. Madhu, it is sweet. And the whole mixture is called curry. Curry is just a term. So where it is sweet, there's no sins of anybody in it. It's pure. If the mosque be your abode, there is always fire burning in the duni to provide udhi to people. From dawn, gather the faithful to worship you, till the sun is at zenith and the midday arti is performed. All around the devotees stand as the divine attendants on God, holding the chauri chamar to wave softly over your head. Cornets resound, clarions make melody, the bells clang aloud. As the Chopdar, impressive with his belt, stands at the door, proclaiming your glory. On your resplendent seat, you are as Lord Vishnu during Aarti, but you are Shankar, destroyer of Cupid, as you sit before the dhuni in the evenings. Such leelas of the Trinity we experience in you day after day, O Sai, O Baba Sai. Even so, my mind wanders idly. To steady it is all I pray to you now, whilst among the while, a great sinner that I am, seeking refuge at your feet. I come, avert the threefold afflictions of Dasganu, O Guru Raya. Such a beautiful composition. I'm sure every word has a profound truth in it. People go to the Ganges to wash away their terrible sins, while Ganges herself take refuge at the saint's feet to cleanse her own sins. Exactly, we've been talking the same story last 2 days. Leaving Sai's holy feet, we need not go on a pilgrimage to the Ganges or Godavari. It is enough to listen to this hymn to a saint, this fascinating story of Sai with a devout heart. Just as by great good fortune, Gonai found Nama in the Bhima river and Tamal found Kabir in an oyster shell in the Bhagirathi, so also Shri Sai Nath first appeared for his devotees in the Shirdi village under a neem tree at the tender age of 16. Even at his first appearance, he was Brahmanyani, untouched even in his dreams by sensual desire. Maya he had abandoned totally, and moksha rolled at his feet. In which country, which righteous family, or in which parental abode Baba took birth, this no one knew. None knew his antecedents, who was his father or who was his mother. All were exhausted, asking him questions, but were none the wiser for all that. Abandoning mother and father, friends and relations, caste and descent, in fact, renouncing the whole worldly life, he appeared in Shirdi for the benefit of the people. This is the supreme truth. When the divine manifest, they do not accept their worldly relationships. They renounce and they are on the path of spirituality. They become the avadut. They become independent. They are the greatest of the saints who take this entire universe to be their family. For them, there is no father, mother, children, husband, nothing. They are beyond all the material worldly bondage. Everybody is their children. Everyone is their family. We say when we get initiated, we become the family of the gurus. Our lineage, we become the part of the guru's lineage. So our family is Vasudev Kutumbam. This entire universe is our guru's family. That is the profound truth about what is mentioned here. And these great masters serve everybody so religiously. And for them, they serve them selflessly. There is no hidden agenda. There is no hidden motivation. They don't care about your money. They don't have any wants. They don't even ask from you. But when they have to take something because of a certain reason, is why they might ask. But honestly, they don't need anything from you ever at all. An old lady of Shirdi, Nana Chopder's mother, would often talk about the marvel of Baba's ways and of his behavior. In the beginning, said she, this lad, fair and handsome, was first seen sitting calmly in deep meditation under a neem tree. When they saw this comely youth, people were quite astonished to see him performing such arduous penance at the tender age, so much so that the scorching heat or bitter cold were to him the same. Such tender age, and oh, what severe austerity! The villagers were simply amazed to see it. People from the neighboring villages thronged Shirdi to have the boy's darshan. Company he kept none during the day, nor was he afraid of anything or anyone by the night. Where could this lad have come from? Was the one question that puzzled everyone's mind. So comely was his face, so handsome the form. Looking at him, love welled up in the heart. He never visited anyone, but remained near the neem tree day and night. Everyone was quite mystified. How extraordinary was this lad, such tender age, so sweet and youthful a countenance, and how could he stay out in the open night and day? Outwardly, but a young boy, yet in his demeanor he surpassed even the greatest among men, the very incarnation of perfect renunciation. They could not stop wondering. A strange thing happened one day. A few persons were possessed by the spirit of the deity, Khandoba. In their frenzy, they started puffing and gasping and panting, emitting loud, deep sounds. So people began to ask them questions. To which fortunate parents does this boy belong? From where and how has he come up here? O Khandoba, at least you find the answers for us. One of them said to the god. And the god said, go get a hoe and strike at the spot that I show you. Strike here with your hose and you will get your answers about this lad. Then, in the same spot near the enclosing wall of the village, under the same neem tree, they struck blow upon blow with their hose till they came upon some bricks. The layer of bricks over, they found an underground cell with 4 metal lamps burning in it, the entrance to which was closed by a quern stone. The cell was paved with limestone and contained a wooden seat, a gomukhi, with a beautiful rosary. Then the god said, for 12 years this boy undertook penance at this spot. All the people were wonderstruck at this and started plying. The boy was probing questions, but the lad was full of playful mischief and told them a story altogether different. This is my guru's seat, said he, and my most sacred legacy. Listen to me this once and preserve it as it is. So Baba said the listeners who were present, but why is this my tongue moved to say that Baba was giving it a different turn? I was amazed at myself. Why should I think in such terms about Baba? But now I have realized that this must have been his spontaneous sense of humor. Baba dearly loved a joke. Maybe the cell was his own dwelling, but what does one lose in saying that it is the Guru's? How does its importance suffer? And so on his orders, the cell was once again sealed as his Guru's seat by restoring the bricks to their former position. The neem tree was to Baba as great and as sacred as the Ashwatha, the people or Audumber tree. He loved that neem tree dearly and greatly revered it. Malsapati and other old residents of Shirdi village bowed to this place as the Samadhi of Baba's Guru. It is common knowledge among the villagers that Baba sat near the Samadhi in meditation, observing total silence for a period of 12 years. Sate Sahib, one of Baba's devotees, acquired the land all around it along with the Samadhi and the neem tree and raised a building with 4 verandas connected at the center. This building, this very vada, was originally the common residence of the pilgrims, forever crowded with comings and goings of visitors. Sate raised a bank around the neem tree and an upper floor running north-south. When the northern staircase was laid, he pointed out the cell. Under the staircase, facing south, is a beautiful niche. In front of it, facing north, the devotees sit on the bank. On Thursdays and Fridays, he who washes the floor with cow dung at sunset and burns incense for a moment, Shri Hari will surely bless him. Listeners may doubt in their minds whether this is true or an exaggeration, but these words are the words from Sai's mouth, which I have heard with my own ears. This is no statement of my own making. Have not the slightest doubt. Those who have personally heard this are still amongst us. Later came Dikshit Vada, which provided spacious accommodation, and in the forefront and the forepart, a stone building was also built very shortly thereafter by Shri Bhutti. Dikshit was already well known for his virtuous deeds and was the very embodiment of faith and devotion. The seeds of this spiritual progress were sown during his sojourn to England. Here, the listeners may well ask how, instead of the holy places of pilgrimage like Mathura, Kashi or the Dwarka, could England, which was proscribed by then Hindu custom, be the beginning of a spiritual journey? And it is quite natural for listeners to raise this doubt. But all my listeners will surely forgive me for a slight digression in answering it, which in fact they will appreciate. Dikshit had already accumulated enough religious merit by his pilgrimages to the holy places of Kashi, Prayag, Badri, Kedar, Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwarkapur, etc. Moreover, by his father's virtuousness, his own extraordinary good fortune and the desert of the accumulated merit of his past births, he had darshan of Shri Sai. The immediate cause for this darshan was his lameness, decreed as if by fate. For while in England, his foot slipped and resulted in an infirmity of the leg. To all appearances a misfortune. It was really a most auspicious and rare event, which led to his association with Sai. It was indeed the fruit of all his good deeds. Dikshit happened to meet Chandorkar, from whom he came to know of Sai's fame. Chandorkar said, "You just see the marvel of his darshan. Your lameness will disappear immediately." But it was not so much the infirmity of the leg that Dikshit considered to be a deficiency. The real infirmity, he said, is of the mind, which he beseeched Sai to remove. This is what we have to ask. People go to the gurus to ask for their desires. Oh, cure my dad's desire, my desires, or my sickness. Let my dad's sickness be cured. All these things. Never ask for these things. The divine already knows what is going well, not going well, what is happening with you. They already know. There is a reason why you have to go through those sufferings. It is very important because you have to expiate your karmas. Go and ask and always seek for you to evolve in the path of spiritual. Seek that you have the grace so that you can do your sadhana, you can understand what is being taught, and you listen to these divine knowledge. Let your mind absorb that knowledge. That is what you have to ask. As you know, when you pray, that is what you got to ask, not the frivolities or the flimsiness of mind of this material world. Never ask for these petty things. It's not going to take you anywhere. It's not going to give you anything at all. It's only fulfilling those very petty, momentary aspect of your life, which is not even relevant. What is this human frame but a bag of flesh, bones, blood, and skin, a mere load cart of all the transient worldly affairs? It mattered little, even if the lameness remained in the leg. It was in the year 1909, on the second day of November, that Dikshit for the first time had Sai's sacred darshan. In that same year, he then went again to Shirdi in the month of December to have Sai's darshan once again. And this time, he really felt that he should stay there for a longer period. At first, a thought came to his mind that he should sell some 25 of his company shares to build a shed with corrugated iron sheets for a roof, so that it would also be useful to pilgrims. But later on, he resolved in his mind to build a vada instead. And in the very next year, the foundation stone for it was laid. To mark the auspicious beginning of the building work, the day was 9th December. Baba's consent was obtained, and taking it to be the auspicious sign, the work of laying the foundation stone was accomplished. As luck would have it, Dikshit's brother, who would not have come normally, even on invitation, happened to be there already on that very day and at the most auspicious time. Shri Dada Sahib Kaprade had come to Shirdi alone much earlier and was in some difficulty over getting Baba's permission to return home. Both of them got permission. Kaprade to go home and Dikshit to lay the foundation stone of the building on the 10th of December. This day is significant for yet another reason. From this very day was started with great love and devotion Baba's Aarti before he retired for the night at the Chavdi. In a divine's life, everybody is there to serve a purpose. We think that we are the one who's doing it. I'm sorry, you're not the one. The divine himself uses you as an instrument or a tool in his hands to get that purpose done. And it could be even as small as a small job. It could be just saying, okay, you just stand here, attend to the devotees. It could be whatever the job that he assigns, but that is serving his purpose. Every job it's not big or small. It has its own significance. Likewise, there are a lot of events that might have happened. Very important. Before you come to the divine, to get started on the journey, you have to go through certain events. Until those events doesn't happen, you cannot come there. So that's another very important knowledge to have. We don't know. You cannot fathom it. You cannot even understand why this had to happen. Why should I go to London and have my leg have a accident or have some lameness in my leg? Why should that incident happen? We don't know. Never question this. It's very beautiful. In my own case, I know my Guruji much before I met him as my Guru. And at one point in time in 2001, he underwent his own transformations. At that time he had said, you will come to me when the time is right. I didn't know, neither did I understand what he meant. But in 2009, he found me. I met him as my Guruji, Krishna Guruji. Literally, Lord Shri Krishna came into my life. And this was so profound. And just before that, in Jan 2009, when I came back from my assignment from IBM, from New York, the first thing is I went to Shirdi. And at that time, I had asked Baba, I was fed up. I was completely disillusioned by what was happening in this material world. I couldn't understand what's going on. What am I here? What is my life about? I had too many raging questions and no answers. I felt everything that I did was not resulting in what I expected. I didn't know what God was. Who is God? Am I going to have a better life? I didn't know. And before that, I used to follow, doing some rituals, believing that if I do certain pujas or prayers, my life is going to get better. So I used to keep going and visiting temples after temples after temples and believing some of the astrologies and all these things which had no sense, which had no meaning, which I understood much later after meeting my Guruji. But I was completely a confused person. I don't know what to do. When I went to Shirdi in Jan 2009, the first thing I did was when I came back from US, I first went to meet Baba. And at that time, I prayed very sincerely, standing even today. I don't know what happened. There was nobody around me. It was in the shrine. I stood, I cried profusely. I don't even remember anybody around me. Yes, there were a lot of people, but I completely forgot. It was in a different level of, I'm different plane altogether. I don't even know what transpired at that moment. All I asked, and I can't remember, is, Baba, if my faith in you is real, if I know you, that you are really there and my prayers are true, please take a form and come and, save me from this material world. These were my words. And when I just closed my eyes, his hand literally like this came and touched my head. That's all I know. And after that, when I came back and when I opened Baba's Poti, I used to have this abridged version, the red color book. And when I would open that book, first thing Baba said is, go to Radha Krishna Mai's school. And I didn't know who this Radha Krishna Mai was. But much later that year, on August 14, 2009, on Krishna Janmashtami, I met my Krishna Guruji. He literally, he found me. This is how the divine works. But that perfect timing has to come. It is not at your will. It is not when you want. So there are certain events that you have to go through. That you have to complete certain things, and we don't know what that is. And the way, the divine timing is the most beautiful one. That's the most auspicious one, because that moment is so perfect. I have no words how to describe this experience. Probably you should have your own experience in that aspect. Later in the year 1911, the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami was availed of for the Griha Pravesh with all the rituals and ceremonials. Later on still, Bhuti's Vada was built with lavish expenditure, and Baba was laid to rest in it after his Mahasamadhi, so that all the money was well spent. Now there were 3 Vadas in all, where earlier there were none. But in those early days, it was Sate's Vada that was most useful to everyone. This Sate Vada is important for another reason too. In the beginning, on the very spot, there was a beautiful flower garden grown by Baba with his own hands. A short account of this garden will be given in the next chapter. Hemad, with his listeners, bow humbly at Sai's feet. Vaman Tatya, the potter, would supply the earthen pitchers, and Sai Samarth would water the plants, thus raising a garden on the rocky barren soil. Later, Baba just disappeared one day. Afterwards, he met Chand Patil near Aurangabad, and with that marriage party, he returned to Shirdi. Thereafter, he met Devi Das, he met Janaki Das too, and so also Gangagir. This threesome then got together in Shirdi. The incident of Baba's wrestling with Mohiddin then took place, and afterwards, Baba came to stay at the mosque. He grew fond of Dengal, and gradually other devotees gathered round him. All these stories will be narrated in the next chapter, which can be listened to attentively. Hemad now prostrates wholeheartedly before Sai as he seeks refuge at his feet. We have 10 more minutes, so I will begin the next chapter and we'll stop at exactly in the next 10 minutes. Let us take the time and let us see what happens next. Who is this gardener and what is the garden all about? What garden did Baba grow? The next chapter, chapter 5, Sai's disappearance and return to Shirdi. Now in continuation with the previous story, listen to this account of how Baba suddenly disappeared from Shirdi, only to reappear once again in the company of Chand Patil. How Baba himself carried water to create a garden, as also the meeting together of Gangagir and other saints. Listen to these stories which are sanctifying. Baba had for a time disappeared, but later it was in the marriage party of a Muslim gentleman which came to Shirdi that this jewel was discovered. Devidas, however, had already come to stay in Shirdi before that. Later on came Janaki Das Gosavi too, to live in Shirdi. How all this came about, I shall now relate in detail. Be attentive, O listeners, as you respectfully listen to this. In Dhupkedha, a village of the Aurangabad district, there was a Muslim of great good fortune by the name of Chand Patil. While journeying to Aurangabad, he lost his mare, and for 2 months she could not be traced. No hope now of finding her. So thought the Patil, completely dejected, and felt very sorry and distressed for the loss of his mare. Finally, he flung the saddle across his back and turned back to go the way he came. Leaving Aurangabad behind, he travelled about 9 miles. There was a mango tree on the way, under which he saw this gem among men. A cap in his hand, body covered by kafni, a mendicant's robe, and a baton under the armpit. Even as he crushed some tobacco in the palm of his hand and filled a chillum clay pipe, a wonderful thing happened. As Chand Patil was passing that way, he heard the fakir calling out to him, saying, "Oh you, come here, smoke this chillum. Then go. Come, rest here a while under the shade." The fakir then asked, "What is this saddle for?" And the Patil replied, "I have lost my mare, sir." Upon this he said, "Go search along this rivulet." And lo, the mare was found immediately. Chand Patil was astonished and said to himself, "Truly, I have met a sage. There is no limit to this miraculous deed. How can he be called an ordinary human being?" He then returned with the mare and came back to the same place again. The fakir made him sit by himself. He picked up his own hands a pair of tongs. Then he thrust it in the soil in that same place and brought out a burning ember from within the soil. He then placed it on the chillum in his hand and picked up the baton. For there was no water to wet the strip of cloth covering the chillum, so he struck the ground with his baton and water began to flow out. Dipping the strip of cloth in water, he then squeezed it out and then wound it round the chillum. He smoked the chillum himself and made the Patil smoke it too. The Patil was quite dazed seeing all this. The fakir was then pressed to sanctify his home by the Patil by paying him a visit. The fakir, who had come to this earth only for such divine leelas, conferred the favor on him. So, what the divine does, how they do it, you can never fathom. And this is something I've been telling in all my satsangs since the day we started. His ways are so weird. Sometimes we wonder what is he doing. And actually, as we go along the scriptures, you will learn about the most amazing ways how Baba would give some of the medicines to cure some of the worst of the diseases. And you will wonder, oh my God, is this the medicine? I don't want to reveal it all, but let us unravel it together. So a sage's way or a guru's way is far beyond what we can fathom. And I've seen how even my Guruji will speak. Many a time when he says, go and do this now, our mind will question, why should I go? Why should I find? Is the mare going to be there? But Chand Patil did follow what Baba said. He didn't doubt the sage. He didn't doubt the fakir. He just followed and he found the mare. And this is very important. But in reality, it doesn't work like that. We always question the master. We question, how do you know? Oh, is it? We don't want to listen to the guru. And this is a very important lesson. The important lesson here is you need to just obey. Do exactly what your guru commands you to do. If he says, go now, just go now. Don't ask him questions. Why now? Why can't I go tomorrow? There is a reason why the master is saying what he's saying. Because he knows this is the past, the present, the future. He knows what are the events that's going to happen. But he's never going to tell you. But if he has to await certain things from happening, or he wants your destiny to not come into play, he will say certain words. Just go and obey it. Do not ever question your guru. Never question that. And that is why Chand Patil, when he went that path, he found his mare. Not only that, when Baba said, drink the chillum, he did. And sometimes we say, no, my Guruji says, oh, you eat this. Oh no, I will put on extra fat. This is sweet. This is our mind. This is how we react. But that sweet can even burn the fat. That is the power of the Guru. And we forget to understand this truth. We think the Guru is making me eat something which I don't want to eat. No, don't question. When you are under guidance of the Guru, when you are under his grace, nothing shall touch you, nothing shall befall you. But obeying the words and the command and the ordain of the Guru is extremely important. Even a moment of delay can cost you your life. Know that. And I have faced this. When I haven't listened, I would have to pay for what I didn't do, because I have stretched the time. And please know that time is an essence of Lord Shri Krishna himself. And if you cannot keep up that time, then you have lost the battle. You have lost that moment, and something else has to come into play, and then nothing can stop that event from happening. So always obey and listen to what your gurus say, and do it right then and there. Do not procrastinate. Don't ever do this. The next day, he went to the village to stay with the patil and spend some time there. Later, he came back to Shirdi. This Chand Patil was the headman of the village Dhoop Kheda, and his wife's nephew was engaged to be married to a bride from Shirdi. This nephew of his wife had come of a marriageable age and had the good fortune of marrying a bride from Shirdi. So with the bullock carts and horses, the marriage party set out to come to Shirdi in due course. And then Baba, drawn by his affection for Chand Bhai, joined the party too. The wedding over, the marriage party returned from Shirdi. Only Baba remained behind. He stayed back and then stayed on forever. That marked the rise in Shirdi's good fortune. Indestructible and ancient that Sai is, he is neither Hindu nor Muslim. He has no caste, no descent, no family, no gotra. The state of self-realization was the core of his being. And Sai that people called him, is that his real name? No, indeed. Out of respect, he was first addressed as Welcome Sai. And that is how he got his name. Actually, I will take this 5 minutes to explain how my Guruji got his name. When my Guru had transformed into being who he was, the divine being, when people asked him, what is your name? He just said, Krishna knows, God knows. That's what he meant. And since then, his name came to be Krishna knows. It's like a pen name. And under that, he would write as Krishna knows. That's how he started teaching. Nobody knew what his name was. But after many of his devotees and disciples were there, we decided to call him Krishna Guruji. And he very graciously accepted. Accepted because that's the love he saw in everybody. He doesn't have an ego. Oh, this is my gotra. This is who I am. I want this name. So the humility that they demonstrate is far beyond what we can ever fathom. And this is what they set an example as. Even the name is not theirs. Nothing they own in this world. Everything is, they live on alms. What people give, they graciously accept. Anything given with love. Even a leaf of tulsi is very graciously accepted. They do not compare, oh, you gave tulsi or you gave $1 million. Both is equal to them. You know, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Ji will always say that a shit or money is one and the same. They don't differentiate between any of these. It doesn't matter to them. That is their greatness. So even a name, they don't own. They don't own anything. They are selfless beings. They are avadutas. They are free. They are free souls. They just can chuck everything and walk out of this world. That is the power they hold with them. And when you meet such great beings, serve them. Be very gracious for that blessings they confer on you. Love them. Show what you can be. Show them humility. Show them humbleness. And always seek for their grace to evolve in spirituality. Please don't come to such divine beings with your mundane laundry list of wants and I don't know what you want to bring. Bucket list you'll bring. And it's never enough. No matter what you have, you still want more. Your greed is insatiable. Stop this. When you go to meet any divine being, even the God, always be very thankful for what you already have and be contented, because without contentment, you cannot evolve in spirituality. You cannot get the devotion. You cannot love the divine. So be content with what you have. Contentment is very important. And say, whatever the divine has to give you will anyways give you. See, you have already come with a fixed destiny. And the grace of, when you meet the grace of the, when you meet such divine being, the grace of the Guru, you have it. And on whatever is right for you will definitely be granted. You don't even have to open your mouth and ask. Such is the power of this divine. So know that what is due to you will anyways come to you. So stop asking. Don't come with your begging bowl saying, I want this, I want that. Oh, I need a job, I need this, and I need that. And then what? After being granted, oh, I earned it because I worked hard. Is that so? Oh, I didn't know that. Let us take it away and see who worked harder. Oh, then what you will do? You'll blame God. Oh, God took it away. How convenient. Such a mean human mentality. So stop this. And please come with grace, goodness, give love. Say, God, I want you. Ask for God. That is the highest ask that you can ever have. With that, we stop at verse 20, chapter 5. Thank you so much for joining me today. You have a wonderful evening. ओम श्री महागणपते नमः। ओम श्री गुरुदेव दत्त। ओम श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा। ओम श्री कृष्ण गुरुनाथनाथाय श्री गुरुवे नमः। ओम देवी दुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री कृष्णार्पणम नमस्तु। कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम्।